Welcome everyone. What what okay, he's dancing. So welcome everyone for another episode of Beyond Beliefs. With me I got Mr. Artemis Brain Sample. Artie, welcome. I'm getting an echo.
I hear an echo when it isn't me.
No, someone has the stream up and not
Hey,
muted.
guy.
I'm muted. It's not me. I'm muted.
I hear an echo when it isn't me. You've got an internal thing going.
I think so too.
I'm muted.
Let's let's check the hangout where this is coming from. Yeah,
It was
well,
me. I got it.
ah,
Sorry, I thought I had that window closed.
see, that's why I love you. You're so smart. You can
I
figure
know it
out
is.
things and stuff. And so, okay.
I'm a boy.
See, first time I go live, I don't go live, and first time you go live, you forget to mute everything. So, okay. Let's start over. Welcome, people. Glad to see so many people already in the side chat. So welcome to all of you. I see a lot of usual names popping up, so that's great. Um, we got a guest tonight, so we talked about it, and we're addressing him as Guy. He's on Twitter, he on YouTube, and he's called this one guy. So, uh, Guy, can you introduce yourself and start off with telling us what you believe in
Yeah.
and why?
Hi guys. I really have no reason to believe what I believe. I just kind of believe it. Um, and that's pretty much it. I wasn't looking for like faith. It kind of just came to me. Uh, so I came to look into faith just to try to make fun of it and pick on people for it, and it kind of just came onto me.
So, correct me if I'm
Go
wrong.
ahead.
If I heard that correctly, so you believe, but you have no reason why.
There technically shouldn't be any reason to believe other than the fact that I do. Like I can't actually find one. Like some people have put their faith in things, because I'm not a person to care like after life or death or heaven or hell. Those are it's what it is. What it is. If you go to heaven, you go to heaven. If you go to hell, you go to hell. Um, it it doesn't matter to which one I go to. I don't view a sense of like I'm trying to be um a good boy or whatever. I'm trying to be the best that I can be for myself, for the Father of above, so to speak. But there's like there's no like partial reason to believe. It's just something I happen to come upon and believe. Like it just seems more no more natural to me than anything else.
So I have no clue how how that should work. I mean, for me to believe
Is there,
something, I have to be convinced that it is correct. And you
is
just
there anything else that you believe? You have no idea why you think it's true.
Not necessarily, no.
So just this one thing that you don't know why you think it's true, but you think it's
It
true.
just if the question gets thrown around, it's just there's really not like a reason why I believe it. It falls for me. The story of like God, the Creator, or whatever, right? And with the Bible and with the way humanity is, it just kind of falls in line to me, like the way I pick it out. And mind you, I don't get my normal stuff from like the regular Bible that everyone just reads. I started off with the non-canonical books of the Bible, and and then I went through those. And then I went into Enoch, and then from Enoch I went into the actual what it is today Bible, the King James and the English Standard Version.
So you read the Thomas book about Jesus as a kid throwing a friend off the roof, and you read Lilith.
Not all of them. No, I haven't gone through them all. I should have clear that up. My bad. No, I haven't gone through them all.
No,
Like, but I've heard of the stories. But yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah,
So,
not the Lilith one, but more the one of Jesus and the baby falling off of the roof or
So do you-
pushing the kid off the roof. And yeah,
do you believe the non-canonical are as true as the other books?
I can say only some of them, not all of them.
How did you make the distinction?
I haven't been able to yet. It's just the correlations in with regular Bibles. Like I go by like what's it say in the Bible? Like witnesses. If there's two, if there's three or more, two or three, I am amongst them. So I kind of use that same way for like certain passages and things. If it's said at least twice, or
Like
three
that
times,
fucking
times.
song they play at weddings.
Like what?
More than
No,
two are gathered in my name.
Something like that, yeah, in a sense. And it's like if I find those connections, if it's said more than twice in different books, then it's like, well, I guess there's a connection there. There's something there that make me. It's repeated. Some things are repeated throughout the Bible.
I still have a hard time wrapping my head around it that you believe something and you said you have no reason to believe it.
Yeah,
For,
like
for
there's
me,
not
for
like-
me, for me, that would
for it.
lead me to the conclusion that if I have no reason to believe it, then I shouldn't believe it. So
I guess it's more than the lines of it's just the way things are. It's not really a sense to it is what it is. It's not really like I need to believe something that for me that's a factual truth. So there's like, okay, so for me, if it's a factual truth, then there's no reason to justify it because it's already factual to me. And it's just the way I perceive reality in the world as to
Yeah.
be a legitimate thing.
Okay, but how do you get to a factual truth? I mean,
Like, it's
that
just
that
the,
that means
the
that you
connection
do have a
between-
reason because you went out and figured out if it was factually true. So that would mean that you have
I
a
guess it's
reason.
like yeah. I guess it's more the sense that it's the things that come from the Bible and the things that go on with reality, like the things that it says and stuff. Like I said, there's just connections there that just it's like it's written from the Bible, put into modern times if you want. Just some things, not all things, but some things that are in there. It's connected within what we see. Like it's more harder to explain actually like the whole faith and belief system for me because it's like it's just something that I see that's there, and it's just like a piece of a puzzle. Like it's a whole mystery to figure out, right? It's always been like a puzzle game, and I just kind of I guess you could say I put pieces to certain things in society that we see and why they're there, and I connected to everything within the Bible, and then like I'm still doing it.
Can,
I'm not like done doing
okay, so
it.
can you name some of those connections? Because I'm lost for words to be.
Yeah,
To be
I'm trying to. I was trying to get connections in my head as I was going for you. I'm trying to think of examples. I mean,
Did you grow up in a Christian house?
no,
So what was your first exposure to? What was
Well-
was it just idle curiosity that led you to read some of the non-canonical books, and then suddenly that
no,
You
no.
got
I even said I did it just to make fun of religion, and then I just
you started believing that this thing was true, regardless of whether or not you could justify that it was?
it just made sense to me, and as I was
So-
growing up, things that I saw made more sense to me.
So
About
if you read Bhagavad Gita, there's a pretty good chance you'd be Hindu.
no, not necessarily. No,
Well, not necessarily, but
No,
like I
because
said,
there's parts of the Bible like from Enoch with the fallen angels that I think is where it explains all the branches of other religions, where they all stem from.
well, you understand why that's there, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I understand it from my standpoint. I don't know how you understand why it's there
Well,
or how it came to be, but
for me, it's the same reason that one of the 10 Commandments is "Thou shalt have no gods before me."
mhm.
It's a recognition that there are other gods, and you are going to worship other gods, but you need to worship me first. And that mention in the Bible about the origin of other religions, same shit. We know there are other religions, but I'm going to shit on them for no reason except that we need you to do this first. Follow?
A little bit, yeah.
So that's why I say if you can't justify your beliefs, then it's a little tough for you to say that you wouldn't be Hindu if you had started by reading Bhagavad Gita.
Well, it's not like I haven't looked into Hindu, but what I'm saying is there's a reason why I don't believe in Hinduism, and I believe more in the sense of Christianity. And I as I just said, it goes in line with the fallen angels that are in Enoch.
Well, yeah, but you think that makes sense, and I'm pretty sure there's some shit in Bhagavad Gita that you would find that makes sense as well that doesn't make any sense to neither Peter nor I, but would make sense to you because you think angels are inherently possible just because you read it and it showed up in more than one book, apparently.
Yeah, in the sense. Like it's.
So if I get it correctly, your standard of evidence is if it's mentioned twice, then it is real. If I were to apply that standard to Harry Potter, we would have wizards and witches.
Surprisingly, there's even Christmas in Harry Potter. So why are wizards celebrating Christmas? Is another question. If you want to go down that route.
Why couldn't they be Christians?
Exactly, that's a weird part. Why would there be
wizards? They be Christians? They're just witches and wizards. Witches and wizards doesn't mean they have a religion built around it.
That's true. I thought it was a religion at some point.
And the weirdest thing of all is that we see Christians celebrating Christmas and having Christmas trees and having all kinds of decorations where the Bible is explicit in saying that you can't do that. So.
It's central around paganism. Most of it, the burning of the log and the fire in the tree. But it all depends. Like it's just festive now. I mean,
it says explicitly in the Bible that you cannot have a tree inside the house and decorate it with gold and silver decorations, which is pretty much a Christmas tree.
Fairly literally.
Yeah, and it says that you're absolutely forbidden to have that. So, and that's not the only verse. I can get you a link to over 100 verses that prohibit you from celebrating Christmas. So.
Well, that's why the Puritans didn't allow that. You weren't allowed to celebrate Christmas in the United States. Well,
fine. I'm pretty sure that's all good and forgivable, though. At the end of the day, like it's not really
one sin that is forgivable.
You know, like it's the only one sin would be blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. That's the only one I think Alex mentioned.
Disbelief is the only one. You can have lots of gods that you believe are real, and you can talk shit about all of them, but so long as you believe that you haven't committed the one sin that is irrevocable.
Not necessarily, but yeah. I mean,
oh man, I just read it.
Like I don't know how far it goes though. You know, again.
Peter and I, you picked up a couple of views on some of your videos today. Peter and I did a little background work before we.
Okay.
One of the things that stuck with me that you did a debate recently with a guy that sounded like he was really high.
You're talking about Just Bored?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yep, that was
that one I know. I'm going to talk again to that guy because that was interesting. I was like, what?
That cat sounded wasted to me, and as somebody who's done a whole lot of drugs in his life, I know he's wasted. But you mentioned it's kind of funny that you just kind of dismissed Hinduism when you think reincarnation is the thing.
A little bit, yeah. It's not necessarily I dismiss it, like I said. It's just that I can't.
Well, you're not Hindu.
No, I'm not. I'm not Hindu. It's not that I dismissed it. No. Okay, never mind. I see what you're saying. My bad. Yeah. But I'm seeing it as a fact. I don't accept it I accept it as an actual thing. It's just I don't follow the practices. If anything, you could say I'm a non-practicing Hindu.
Well, that's
And there's been the bigger sense and grander schemes.
yeah. The Amish dismiss electricity. They don't avoid believing that it exists. They can kind of recognize the cars are all around them as they speed past the buggy.
So I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, what it is actually that you believe. So you're a non-practicing Hindu who is a Christian.
I said it's like that. No, it's like that. I was using it's like that. You could say that technically in the bigger sense. It's like I give merit to them and everything that they have for reasons, like for the angel reasons. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's the point. I don't know, because
I haven't
how
gotten
do you
like an
decide?
actual foundation of apologetics down to like everyone always asks this bigger question when I come on, like my belief system, and I haven't actually like worked it all down because I'm not done doing stuff to like to get down like exactly what I believe, so I can just like spit it out to you like, oh, like most people can. So like when I go through these conversations, I try and explain this. I always get this like I try because I forget stuff, and then like I remember stuff in it because I go back and I do research, and I just to make sure something's right. No, you probably don't know, but it's fine. But yeah, it's not structured, my belief system, so to speak. I haven't organized it yet to
I think my point was that you kind of borrow from whatever feels the most right to you, and that becomes your belief system.
Yeah,
not necessarily, no.
I feel like that's a fair thing to say.
It is how you describe it.
Borrowed in like how?
Well, reincarnation doesn't show up in the Bible. Even Jesus wasn't reincarnated.
He got in the same body, yeah, but eventually we will get a new
He
body.
didn't go back to his body. He went to heaven.
And when we die and go to New Jerusalem, we get a new body. That's technically a reincarnation. That's true. When we all go to heaven, we get a new body. That's technically reincarnation.
No,
No,
that's not reincarnation. Reincarnation is that you come back to this
that's
world in a different body, or as a different.
You're not using the word incarnate correctly there.
But it's still the same sense.
No,
Physically manifest. That's the same thing.
Well, again, if you think heaven isn't physical, I'm one of those people who thinks heaven might be a physical thing. Because otherwise, why would be gold there and freaking like stone walls?
You're talking to atheists, so those questions are.
yeah, and
So I'm saying.
So what I'm trying to explain is reincarnation. So you have an incarnation on this earth and then a reincarnation. So the same thing happening again on the same plane, as it were. Whereas you have two carnations, one on earth and one in heaven. That's not reincarnation. There's no re in there.
Yes, I assume. Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, is what we're saying. It's an abuse of the language to say that when you get to heaven and you get a new body that you have been reincarnated, because that's not what that word means.
But I guess it all depends on the point of view too.
It depends on your
I
choice of
think
words.
the Jews say that they re-inherited the earth at the end, so that would be a form of reincarnation. Then the earth would be the New Jerusalem.
No,
For them,
they're talking about existing as God's chosen people, and that the world will come back to them as God's chosen people. That has nothing to do with
as New Jerusalem, like I've heard it before said from a Jew, but a couple of them in one of the hangouts they were having.
It came from a Jew.
Like their standpoint of view is what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, so it's interesting to go to different, to them for things about what their belief is on Torah. You find out a lot of stuff from that too.
Sure, by all means, go to a synagogue. I attended synagogues and Quaker churches, and not a lot in an Amish church. Weird, because not married and I have facial hair, so I wasn't allowed in. But by all means, go to as many churches as you feel necessary. While I was in the process of trying to avoid admitting that I was an atheist, I went to a bunch of churches, including Quaker churches, which, by the way, if there is a Quaker church anywhere near you, fucking go, because it's great. There's no preacher. Everyone just stands up and says what they feel about a thing. It's that Quakers are awesome. Just aren't that many of them around because
I've never heard of
that's not a popular way to receive the message of the Lord, is from people that are no more an authority than anyone else, which is why they have always been a splinter group. Even when they first got to Pennsylvania, they were a little splintery.
Yeah, we got a good question in the side chat from Faye, Wonder Lady. Do you know anyone who reincarnated, and is there a possibility to talk to them?
Well, everyone says what the Dalai Lama is reincarnated or something like that, right? So you can go talk to him and ask him.
I'm not sure if that's the case.
That's how it goes. I don't remember how it goes. Forget something like that, right?
Yeah, but so now we're in another religion. So what you're doing is pretty much getting everything from every religion that sounds cool. Because and you got different standards, because the Dalai Lama is just one claim. It hasn't been repeated twice in some kind of book, as far as I know. So I'm still trying to get to what your standard of belief is, because so far it just looks like you just accept the things you like,
I guess it's for the most part,
reject
just try to be the best you can be.
Sorry?
Do good and be loving. Be the best that you can be. Do good, be loving, help out your fellow man. That type of crap.
Sure, no God required.
Yeah,
it's a standard. Anyone can do it.
yeah, but
You're right. There is no God.
and that's exactly what atheists do. Except we don't need. That's exactly what atheists do.
Yeah,
Except they don't need a religion.
That's why left
Hold on.
dominion and care.
Hold on. I wasn't finished. I said that's exactly what atheists do, except they don't need a religion to do it. They don't need a God. They don't need a threat of hell. They don't need the promise of an afterlife. You name it. We just try to be good people, and that's it. And why are we trying to be good people? It's because society benefits if everyone is acting towards a common well-being. So I still don't see the relevance of a God, of a holy book, of beliefs in reincarnation or an afterlife or whatever.
I think it's really interesting that you didn't grow up in a Christian home, but you have. Most people use religion as a crutch, and I'm not going to try to pretend that you're not. But it's funny that you fell upon this. Let's be honest. You have your own. It's not, what you have isn't really even Christianity. You have your own religion that's kind of loosely based on Christianity.
It's pretty Christian in the sense. It's just technically heretical. Technically, right? So I think that if I had to throw a label, I'd be a heretical Christian.
Well, I'm pretty sure apostate Christians are heretical.
But I don't know. Dude, I'm also new, and it's not like I haven't been doing this for years. I forgot to say that. I'm only like about 9 months into the faith, so I'm still growing and learning stuff to go. I just wanted to meet new, interesting people and talk about the topic because I really didn't have to do that. And so I do it now. And that's what the whole thing about me is just coming out here and actually just being me and just telling it how I see it. And that's it.
No, I think it's great that you have an opportunity to. When I was in college, YouTube didn't exist. There weren't social media events or opportunities.
Yeah.
So we were forced to get high in dark dorm rooms and talk about this shit. And if that's if that's not the road you're on, cool. You've got this other outlet to be able to do that. I'm all for it. But it's just I struggle with the notion of anybody that looks at a religion, in this case Christianity. My ex-girlfriend was the same way, and she's in her mid-40s. She's very much a Christian that believes that she's a Lutheran, but she's the worst fucking Lutheran you'd ever meet. And she knows that about herself, but continues to call herself a Lutheran. And it's very much the same sense that, you have obviously borrowed very heavily from the notion of what it means to be a Christian, but you adhere to some things that
I like
no Christians adhere to. You believe some interpretations of how the Jews treat the Old Testament. Most Jews aren't literalists when it comes to the Old Testament. I assume you're not a young Earth creationist.
No.
Okay. But you're not a literalist in that sense either. And you've borrowed from with reincarnation. You've even gone so far as to misapply the word in order to make so that you could use the word, which I thought was kind of interesting. But it's a little hard. And granted, you've only been doing this for 9 months, but it's a little hard to try to nail down.
There's something about, like I said, I haven't been able to peg down reincarnation into it.
And you don't seem to be interested in justifying anything, or maybe you're not even particularly interested in the truth of what you believe. I think that's frustrating.
If it's true, it's true. It's just, again, we'll find out at the end, right? Technically,
but if it's true, then you should know that it's true and why that it's true. And you don't seem to, as curious as you are, you don't seem curious enough to look into why things are true.
If it's true, there's no way to actually find. I'm going through the process to see if it's true.
The only things you can validate are true things.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
you just said there's no way to validate it, and I'm saying that's
at the moment.
the only things that are true are the ones that can be validated.
I mean, there could be people that say they can validate truth in any ways and means and shape. It all depends on, some people take different validations. Like you could use the whole season changings and the weather going south because of the.
And that's exactly why I started asking, because if your validation system is broken, you won't ever be able to figure out what is true and what is not. And that's the problem. Because if you have a validation system where you can just open a book and think, hey, this is cool, and hey, this looks a lot like this in this other religion, so I'm going to accept this because it's now in both religions, and if I just switch it up a little bit, so in case of the reincarnation, make it a new incarnation on a new place, and then to me that's the same as reincarnation. That's not a validating system. That's just picking and choosing and going with what sounds comfortable and has nothing to do with the truth.
Well, that's like I said, I haven't actually looked into reincarnation to see if it's even plausible or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm concerned that what your criteria would be to discern something as being plausible or not.
Well, just seeing, like I said, there's research to be had and be done.
Just out of curiosity, out of what potential circumstances, as sitting as you are, do you think that reincarnation is plausible?
Never know. I mean,
that's not plausibility.
What's one thing? There's those cases of like children recalling past lives and all that, things of that such nature.
Are you referring to the kid who wrote the book?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know. No.
Didn't write it as a kid.
Yeah, the kid who wrote it as a kid and then later said it never happened. The
Yeah,
book,
didn't
the
his
book,
mom write
the
that
book
book?
was on the bestseller list. The kid who came back from heaven, and then
Yeah, didn't his mom write that book?
oh, that could be possible. I don't know.
I think that I
So
think
Yeah,
that's what happened.
it was something like something kid remembering a life of a WW2 pilot or some crap like that. I can't remember, but there were some other things like that and little stories. So I'm like, huh.
So that in your mind, that is more plausible than
Things of
wait,
there's
hang on, just a second.
things of like past lives.
Hang
There's
on, hang on, hang on, hang
I
on.
just want to throw that out there.
For you, you think it's more plausible that people are reincarnated and retain memories of past lives than it is that that kid heard that story somewhere, doesn't remember where it came from, retold it, and everyone around them was astonished because they wait a minute, how could he possibly have known that?
yeah.
You think the first is more plausible than the second?
Well, no, well, I'm just saying there's just other people too, not just necessarily the little boy that you're using here.
I'm not talking about any little boy. It doesn't matter.
Story. No, you're talking about particular things. I'm just there's people who say they've had past lives or some crap like that too.
I'm pretty sure in 3 or 4 hours I can implant a memory that you don't have.
So
So
you know,
what I'm curious about. So you believe every story anyone can tell you. Is that
no, because I just said right that no. They
okay?
could say
Okay. So
we could
so
possibly make
so
a
I'm
small little lead.
I'm still I'm
Oh,
still I'm
like
still trying
still
to
kind of
I'm still trying to figure out what your standard is. So what so far have you verified to be true that is in the Christian Bible, if anything?
like I said, I can't really say if anything's true so far. Not yet. It's just things that I've come to know.
But
I
earlier,
can't say if
earlier
they're
you
true or not.
said, earlier you
It's
said,
only because
It just said the things I've come to know. I can't say if they're true or not.
yeah, like there's some things like the death of Jesus that could be a truth, right?
Sure, people could die. That is a possibility.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that if he
I'm pretty
lived,
sure
that he's dead now.
every Jesus in the world has died or will die.
Yes. So, but earlier you said I have if things are in the Bible twice. Correct me if I'm wrong. If things are in the Bible twice, it's true.
Like that stuff, yeah. Like a biblical truth, not like a factual truth. I think
What's an example of a biblical truth?
What's the
in a
difference
certain-
between the difference between a biblical truth and a factual truth? What's the
a
difference?
factual truth is what's I guess for the sake of it is this coming from I think the term's non secular standpoint, right? Non without the religious aspect involved, right?
So what would be an example?
So like let's say oh gosh, I don't know how to which one to use. Non secular truth. Because I'm trying to look outside of a lens.
Sure. No,
So,
it's just a thing you seem really confident about, and I'm just curious what an example of that would be.
Sorry, I was laughing. So, Tony Designs, please. We're both about the same age, have the same line of work, and the same sense of humor. He just said, "I don't believe in reincarnation, but I did in a past life."
Yeah, that's
It's
an excellent tip.
it's a little bit how I feel right now because what I want to know what is the difference if there are two sets of truth. What's true of those two and what isn't?
I had, like I said, I had an idea, and I just sorry, I forgot you want me in a certain way. I had an idea of it, and then it just jumped me. I'm distracted. I'm sorry. Like I'm trying to pay attention and be focused, but I got like other things going on over here. And I'm just trying to focus on you. I apologize.
Shorty
Okay,
just
okay.
put a dog
Let me
fart in my control. I get it.
let me ask
Well,
again.
let me think about it.
You said there is biblical truth and there is actual truth.
Like,
So which
like
of
the
the two?
actuals.
Which of the two? Which of the two is actually true? Or are they both true?
It, it would be true from, again, the biblical lens. Because I'm butchering this, and I'm sorry. I apologize for butchering this. I'm doing terrible. Um, but
No, I'm just asking what you believe. You just told us. So in order to for me to understand, I'm trying to get you to clarify some of the things that you said. It's not butchering anything. I'm just trying to get clarification because now we have biblical truth and we have real truth or actual truth. So if they contradict, which of the two is true?
that's why if I shouldn't have said that, I flubbed up. What I should have said is, there are some things that people wouldn't take true that are biblically, as in they wouldn't find it true because they don't technically believe in the Bible, so it wouldn't be true for them. But there are different truths that they believe in that are also true.
Okay, so let me rephrase
It just
the let me rephrase. No,
applies.
hold on. Let me rephrase the question then.
Sorry.
Um, can can there be two sets of truth for different people? Can something be true for me and not true for someone else?
Yeah,
How?
easy. It all depends on the circumstance.
Easy, dude.
Everything else,
It's not that easy. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. I'm holding a mug. If I tilt it a little bit, you can actually
yeah.
see that there's my logo on it. But I'm holding a mug. So this is actually true that this is a mug. Now, can you explain to me what I need to do in order for this mug not to be true anymore? Because that would be an interesting experiment.
I think you're. I don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to say with that one.
I probably
What I'm
don't.
saying is, okay. What I'm saying is, what the way I took your two. If there's two different truths for each people, and
How?
let's go. I'll on a hypothetical.
There's only one truth.
Yeah,
Truth
what I'm
thing.
interested in is how is there different truth for different people? Something is either true or it's not. Uh, so the mug I'm holding now is not true, and you can do whatever you like. It won't become true magically. It is an untrue mug. It doesn't exist.
No, I
Unless,
think
unless
it's,
you're using the word truth figuratively.
I
Are you
think
using the word truth
I think
figuratively?
I just picked up, and I see what you're saying. How it would be a different truth, and I took it the wrong way. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I was thinking, like you said it when you said it still would be only one truth, even though it's different people. So it's still one truth. Yeah, because I was gonna use the hypothetical in my hand, uh, uh, like 10 fingers, but someone's like missing a finger, so it wouldn't be true. And like I said, it's two different truths. That's two different truths. It's true that they don't have 9 fingers, but true that you do. But like you said, it's only one truth. When you said that, it kind of cleared it up. Oh wait, it would be one truth for him and one truth. So that was my bad.
Yeah, no. It's. I think it would do you a lot of good to remember that truth is a thing which can be demonstrated to comport with reality.
Yes. And if,
Everything else is what somebody expects or wants you to believe, propaganda, or it's just an outright lie,
fake news.
Well,
or they're just wrong.
there's some things that I see that are from there, from Enoch, that are in correspondence with reality. Like I said, that it's hard to me to just to come out and say it, and I know that sucks. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, don't
I,
don't be.
I haven't I haven't I haven't structured it yet to say it. I'm trying to get into the process of doing that.
Here's another thing you should keep in mind.
There is like that I do have.
you should keep in mind that no matter what happens in any conversation on YouTube or any other social media, you failing to make your point will not result in you being eaten by your opponent.
No.
So nothing to be afraid of.
Although I wouldn't trust Artie, but usually no.
I gave that shit up for Lent.
See, yeah. So, and even the example that you gave with a guy with 9 fingers, it would still be one and the same truth for the guy with 9 fingers and for me, because I would be looking at him and saying, "Hey, you got 9 fingers," and he would say, "Hey, I got 9 fingers." It's still the same truth. It comports with reality.
That's why I said
And
I flubbed up in my freaking brain. I'm
okay,
sorry.
okay. So
I was like,
I'm back to my original question. What, if anything, have you found out to be actually true in any holy book that you've read?
okay. If I had to say something, it's definitely the account of the fallen angels. Um, that could, and I say that for you that it could be a possibility, that they might be true, through my claim, and it's some of the things that's mentioned in what they do for mankind, and kind of how we see society in some sense, and the way it's going about. So in some places, not all, but some. If
Have
that
you
makes
noticed?
sense.
Have you noticed that all you did now is make claims and have told us nothing about how you verified that there are such things as fallen angels?
Hmm.
How did you verify that?
It's just like I said. It's just. Oh God, I wish I could come up with an example right now.
I really hope you're not prepared to say if it's true again, because that makes me
Mm-mm.
want to jump through the internet and slap you in the throat.
You know, I'll say it right now. If it's true, it's true, man. That's just for you. If
Yeah.
it's true, it's true.
Really do want to jump through the internet and slap you in the throat.
Please.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm not a witch or a wizard.
No, I'm joking. I'm trying to actually look for something. To bring up an.
I know. I genuinely want to slap you in the throat.
yeah. So and I still you can go look for an example, but an example
I'm
isn't
trying to
exact. An
bring up
example.
one. Like I
Listen, now hold on. An example isn't a method of how you verify that something is actually true.
Well, I'm trying to bring up something. I meant just for me, so I can like try to give you a an example of what I how I try to validate something to be true, like for this in the biblical sense.
So the fallen angels are not verified to be true
Well, they
because
can't be.
earlier
Only
you
you
said
have to know that.
you
How we
said
get there.
you had verified that.
Yeah, in the sense that when okay, so I guess one I could try to give is like when it comes down to like the fossil record and with evolution, it talks about how uh in Enoch and in Jasper that that when the fallen and their children um were interloping with us, like the lustfulness and the sinful nature, they also like manipulated with animals and humans alike. So I think that's like one of the reasons why the flood had to happen,
I don't want to
and that.
I don't want to insult you, but this was just word
Go ahead.
salad. This was just word salad. Evolution, and then you got the book of Enoch, and people who experimented with animals. So I have no clue where you're going with this.
know it's because you never.
So
haven't heard.
are you implying because we had a guy on our show earlier who said that the Nephilim interbred with lizards, and that's how we got dinosaurs, because the Nephilim were giants
Oh,
and they got the offspring of a Nephilim uh, having
That
sex
could
with
be.
a
I don't
lizard.
know. That's up to interpretation. I'd say
It's not up to
genetic
interpretation
mutations. I think it's
because of the mere fact that
if
dinosaurs
he,
are not lizards.
where he's getting
No, no.
yeah.
his
Listen,
information
listen,
from. I
listen,
mean,
listen. Dinosaurs are not lizards. So the fact that having sex with a lizard will still produce a lizard and not a dinosaur. So it's not
any
up.
animal, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to argue that. What I'm saying is, I wouldn't know where he got that from. Is what I'm saying.
Can we clear something up? Earlier I referenced the notion that when I was in college we would just sit around and smoke pot and have these conversations. You high?
A little bit, yeah, for my
Okay,
because I get bad anxiety, so that's why.
that's all right. I ain't mad. Not everything I'm smoking has been a cigarette. I just wanted to clarify because, well, there's been reasons for me to ask that question. Because having
I got the glasses on because of the light. I have it at anger, so you guys can see me. It hurt my eyes.
there's
Sensitive.
these are prescription lenses that don't work it for me anymore. I fucking get it, dude. Just felt like I had to ask because, like I said, I was in college and we used to sit around and have these conversations, and I sincerely feel like you have gotten to the point. You ever seen the movie Animal House?
No.
Okay. There's a scene in Animal House where some of the students are smoking pot for the first time with one of the professors. And one of the kids at the time has a revelation where he's like, so what you're saying is that our universe could be just a single cell in the fingernail of another giant being. And that's kind of where you're at right now, man. You've taken this hodgepodge of information. The thing that bothers me the most about you, first it was your mustache, but I'm over that now. The second thing that bothers me
I love
is
that.
what seems to be an unjustifiable, well, maybe an entirely justifiable lack of concern about what it means for a thing to be true. That's the word I'm looking for was bothersome. It's bothersome that you don't seem to give a shit about whether or not you can justify a truth claim or even what it means to justify a truth claim.
Artie,
Peter.
these aren't prescription glasses. You just wanted to not feel left out anymore. Just
Let's put the fucking aviators, you old man.
I don't like to be left out. That's it. Um,
That's
I,
I think
I,
we all just wear glasses. It's pretty cool.
I, and I still don't get why you can't give us a method of how you verify that something is true. To me that's
seem to be working off a feeling.
I suck
mind-boggling.
at those type of questions. I'm sorry.
Well, you just seem to be purely operating on the notion of, well, that seems cool. That's what I believe.
Like I could probably just go give you a standard definition of like what evidence searching and comparing to practice it out in the field to see if it's plausible. If it's true, like doing research and all that jazz, evidence and seeing things.
When you say
That's
research,
why I haven't. That's why I'm trying not to make a claim of truth, and I probably already did like an idiot. Um, obviously, I think, and I'm trying to because I try not to do that because I can't claim to be true because I can't say for certain. But I still believe. I know it's weird, but
no,
Yes, and in order to believe,
not
you have.
weird.
In,
Why
I can't
believe?
do this. It's too dark in here. Uh, in order to believe, you have to be convinced, right? you cannot choose to believe, because you can choose to believe that I'm green, but I'm not. So the moment you look at me, you're going to see that I'm not green. So you already chose to believe, or were convinced to believe something. And what I'm trying to figure out, and what this show is about, is how did you get to believing? What standard of evidence did you use in order to believe something? Or is it just this is a story that I like and I want it to be true?
Something I read when I was going through it. It just like I guess you could say it was more of a spiritual, emotional overcomingness of that encompassed me, and I just kind of
Emotional,
felt like
emotional. I get.
it's weird enough
Emotional,
to
I get. But what's spiritual?
I don't know emotions intensified. Fuck, I don't know. um,
Again, this is one of those moments where I'm like,
yeah,
yep, pretty sure you're high.
It's
It's just
it's
not a cogent thought, man. It's for you to. I'm sorry. It's just. It's obviously don't give a shit that you're buzzed right now. I'm drinking beer. I'm smoking. I'm smoking. I'm fine with it. Again, it falls back on the methodology that you use, which really does seem to be, well, if I think it's cool, that's the thing I'm going to believe is real. And that's just, you need to sober up at some point, man. You can't spend your whole life stoned. And even if you do, I hope at some point you get to the point where you realize that, well, wait a minute, you can't just think things are true because I think they're true.
it's hard to explain.
You're a little flippant.
There is some justification. It's just that I have a hard time trying to explain it.
Well, that's why I asked if you had grown up in a Christian home, because that what you're expressing are the pleas of the indoctrinated, and you're not.
It's weird, yeah.
You've kind of indoctrinated yourself in whatever you said, 9 months or whatever it's been, that you're already to the point in 9 months. You're already to the point where you're unwilling to necessarily question the things that you believe when confronted with ideas that are
not necessarily true. I have been confronted with some things, and again, when
can you give me an example of what you've been confronted with? Because that's interesting to me.
oh, let me try to think. Okay, I guess you could say with the whole flat Earth thing. One I looked into it just because of whatchamacallit, Tolkien. So I always found it interesting about it, and then I heard of the claims and people going back, oh, the conspiracy came up again. So I looked into it just out of popularity. Sorry for spinning around the chair. And so I looked into that, and then this just I was going out through space and all that, not going out to space, but looking into the things of it, and then looking into the Bible sense where it says the world is suspended from nothing. That helped validate that one thing for me, that we're on a circle, and we're a globe, I mean a sphere, and then that we're not like a disc.
Do you appreciate that the implication of hangs from nothing means that it still hangs?
Yeah. Suspended, I think is the word would be suspended.
No, the word is hangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also says in the Bible it rests on pillars, and it also says that the earth is a circle, which is not a sphere. Which is not a sphere. A circle and a sphere are different.
It's a circle with corners, Peter.
Yeah, I like Kent Hovind's explanation. You can draw all kinds of circles around a sphere. So that's why it says circle in the Bible, because I think
Yep.
I think
Every
maybe
latitude
I
and
can make
longitude is a circle.
I made up my own thing about this because if that's his explanation, that means that you can spin your circle any way you want it, and it's still true. Pretty much like Kent Hovind explains the entire Bible. Just
Actually,
spins
Guy,
it.
that leads me to a question. Do you know who Kent Hovind is?
Yeah, I've seen him and heard of him. I've watched
Ken
him.
Ham. You know who Ken Ham is?
Ken Ham's the
Guy with the boat.
yeah, the boat guy.
That's
In
not that's
Kentucky,
not
right?
Artie.
How-
That's not a
What,
boat.
what,
That's a building.
what was the
It's not a boat. It's a building. Let's
whatever?
stick to true things,
He's
right? I mean,
not much of a guy either.
it is true. It is true that it looks like a boat, but it is still a building. It has nothing to do with a boat. And for the record,
Well, that's a
the
point.
Ark Encounter is still suing over flood claims.
And
I
they're-
mean, that has to be the funniest thing that I've ever heard. Not only this year, but just ever.
It's
But-
really funny that they're going after their multiple insurance companies who won't cover it because it's flood damage,
Yes.
and they're not going after the contractor or the design firm. They're just still convinced that their insurance companies should cover them for flood damage, even though they don't have flood insurance.
Yeah. Scientist Mel is in the side chat, and she says the Ark Ham made leaks. That's probably because of the wood they used, because the wood on the outside is Dutch. Just throwing it out there. We may have sabotaged this thing in some kind of way. But let's
It's
get
funny how many trees are surrounding that thing, and
yeah. It's funny that we don't even have that much
Peter?
wood in our country to
I'm
cover.
confused.
Peter,
Sorry.
Peter,
Yes.
you wanted me to tell you when I had to pee?
Yes, you said that in the side chat, and I switched to this screen, and you didn't move. So, but you were also
Oh,
going to
okay.
do that in the DM, not in the side chat. Okay, you go pee, old man. I know you got a weak bladder. So let's get back to the conversation, and I'm still trying to figure out because you accepted some points of a religion without the verification that it is actually true. Is that accurate?
I guess so. Yeah.
Why?
Well, I guess like there's. Oh, I can't describe it. If I try, it'd probably just come off weird and whatever.
Well, if you say that you would come off weird, then are you saying that you think that your own standard of evidence is weird?
No, it's just that. Well, probably yeah. It's definitely not biblical per se. What's the biblical standard for what they believe? What do you usually
That's a
hear?
level of self-awareness I wasn't prepared for you to admit to. I literally applaud you for it.
Like what do they usually go with their defenses? So they're trying to look at it from their own little lens.
It requires faith.
Yeah, their faith system. I don't. You could say that faith then for me maybe the faith
No,
that
but-
I don't know.
What can't be believed on faith?
It's true that, but yeah,
Okay, so let's not do that. Bad idea.
you can keep. I'm not explaining it though.
That's all right. I just fairly insist that you not use faith because it's
Well, I have faith in you.
you might as well wish. It's
And I wish
every bit as effective. And if you do wish, I insist that you throw money. And if you think I have any effect on it, I insist you throw the money to me.
Yeah, definitely. You shall win the lottery in a couple days or some crap. Right
That one, sweet. Y'all, everybody's a witness. You heard him.
Yep. Dude, if you actually like get a ticket, that'd be cool. Remember, if you win $1, that's still winning the lottery. If you get your dollar back, that still counts as winning.
No. That's not the lottery. That's a winning scratch off, dude.
I actually did a paper on the lottery mentality and all that for gambling. That was a good paper.
Where do you live? What state do you live in?
Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you if you knew where all the lottery money goes, but you live in Illinois, so of course you don't.
Wait, what?
I live in Indiana, so the answer is the same.
Hoosier,
For
cool.
very much the same fucking reason. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
What part are you close by, over by Chicago, or no?
I'm
Chicago area. That's why.
30 miles from Chicago.
Nice. I know the Hammond area and over there.
Yeah, a friend of mine's from the region.
I don't know where that is, but yeah.
It's Hammond area. Actually about a third of my college friends are from the region, which is in over East Chicago, Gary, all those
Areas, yeah.
Yeah, all of that.
Well, we've been
Part of Indiana that's on Central Time.
The only thing I like about Indiana, well, used to like about it, was the cheap cigarettes. Like I said, the only thing I'll go over there for now is just on the tri-state, jump right over just to get a pack if I ever want one.
Most people from Chicago and Illinois come to Indiana for the easy access to guns.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, not me.
It's Mike Pence country, baby. You want a gun? Here's one. Oh, did that one get stolen? Buy more. We'll insure those too. Anyway, enough of the local politics.
So, I'm still getting nowhere. Could just be me, but I'm still getting nowhere with how your belief works and why. And I like the fact that you're even honest and say, well, if I in reflection my standards look goofy. I don't know what term you used, but
Weird.
weird. So, but you're still willing to believe it now, even though you just said.
Like I said,
Go ahead.
there's some things, and I need to make like a video so where I can go into depth and give justifications for the things and why I believe in, like, that video is coming along. I've said this like to the Raging Atheist, because he pounded me for these same questions, and again it goes nowhere because I just suck at answering these type of questions. It's not I always never been good like interview processes. This is exactly how I am in interviews. So like me trying to get a job or something like that.
Well, I hope you're not fucking high when you show up for a job interview.
All the time, no. Like even without it, I'm still the same way. I still suck at answering questions. So I thought I was doing okay.
Yeah, but so
I guess it depends on the.
So, but it isn't
You're
about
doing okay.
it isn't about you
This is
answering questions.
Far better.
It isn't about you answering questions. Aren't you now realizing that you have no good reason to believe what you believe? Isn't that slowly sinking in?
It's not like it's no good reason. It just appears that way to you that it's no good reasons because I haven't been able to demonstrate those reasons.
No, dude, you have fairly admitted that you don't have good reason.
Yeah, you just
It's not a good. It's like I said. It's just something that feels more natural. It feels like it's a natural thing to believe. It's weird.
That's
The best as I
exactly
can
what I mean.
describe it. It's the best way I can describe it. Like you said, some people do it on the faith and to go to heaven or something like that. So they're motivated to be good to go to heaven, or something like that. I'm not like that. So I guess that would be like their belief is so they can go to
okay.
heaven or whatever.
Okay, but so and I know you have that on your channel. I saw that on your channel. You have children. And what I'm afraid of is that you're going to teach your children the same standard of evidence, and they're going to believe all kinds of crap.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna do it. No.
So
No,
but
my
aren't
little boy
you
already says he doesn't
aren't you
believe in
worried?
God.
Because
I'm like,
I've seen them walk in on your live streams, for instance.
no. they're fine. Like I said, they do that, but no, they're free to believe whatever they want. They're little ones, so
Yes, but
uh,
aren't they
See,
going to
nothing.
look up? Aren't they going to look up to you in order to tell them what is real and what is not?
I'm
God, I hope not.
I'm just gonna tell them there's two type. There's people who believe in different faiths. I'll just have to. There's different different walks of people, and we have to learn to love and respect each other, no matter what we disagree on and what we agree on. That's what I'm trying to do with them right now. Like my little boy's autistic, so I'm trying to get him to get better. So when he comes in, he asks me this stuff, and I tell him some stuff. Not like anything like, it's mostly just like, well, we'll talk about that when you get older. Like he has books that he can read if he wants to look into it. I leave it completely up to them. I don't try to like impose that on them. If they come asking me certain questions, I'll give them answers. Like, well, I think he did it this way, and that's why it's done. But so
But
far, they're little kids, so they're not involved in
just
that.
curious. The sign hanging right behind you.
Yeah.
So
Uh huh.
at some point, they'll be able to read it, won't they?
Well, they can read. Yeah, they read it. So they read it. So what?
Well, that's exactly what I was pointing to. You can say you can believe whatever you want. You can choose your own beliefs. First of all, you cannot choose beliefs. You are either convinced or you're not. There's no choosing involved. You can
I
choose
think that
you can choose
a
tomorrow
little weird.
that you're 10 feet tall black guy, but you won't be because you can't choose to believe just something at a whim. It is impossible. It doesn't work that way.
I think it goes to with people like when they're switching like religions or things like that when they're like you know what I'm talking about or no?
But but when people are
Like
switching
that.
religions, and I'm not referring to the dolt. I forgot her name. Some American celebrity announced on Twitter that she was going to be
Oh,
Jewish at the next month. So she was basically saying on Twitter, "I believe in this God now, but starting the first of the next month, I'm going to not believe in this God anymore, but I'm going to believe in that God," which is insane. It's not, you don't switch religions, you switch an entire
but is it
God. You
violent?
get a completely different God.
I'm more or less if when they switch religion if they're gonna start killing people. That's what I
So,
think.
sorry, I didn't catch that.
Then
There's a lot of background noise going on. Can you repeat?
oh sorry, I was messing. Yeah, I said, well, are they gonna be violent? That's the only thing I'd be worried about. They're gonna start like trying to hurt and kill people or murder people rather, and
Well,
threaten. That
we can go into that as well. Currently, we have the what is called the NIFB, who calls for the killing of gay
oh yeah,
people. So I live with two gay women, so I'm really offended by people who want to advocate that. So
yeah, I think it's a sad thing because it's like
It's a little more than sad.
yeah,
um
It wasn't that long
I
ago
also
where our
think
life
it's more than
was
sad. And
advocating.
if someone I know collects these things, goes over the internet, people who are being killed because of the Christian religion in the U.S. right now. So Christians killing atheists, Christian killing Muslims, Christians killing other Christians because they don't believe what they believe. So
mhm.
it's not just sad, it's actually costing lives, and it's costing lives on a daily basis. So
Yeah, if the Amish weren't pacifists, they'd be a terrorist group. The as a whole, the Amish community has nothing but disdain for everyone that isn't Amish. And if they weren't pacifists, that would be horrifying. And there are probably not groups larger than the Amish population with similar considerations, but certainly groups similar in size to the Amish population that do advocate for that shit. And the only thing holding them back is their own cowardice. And thank goodness they're chicken shit, because otherwise there'd be a fucking bloodbath. And there'd be no accountability for it because we give special dispensation in this country because of your religion.
Yes. Except when you're Muslim, then all bets are off. Because that's the wrong religion.
Still waiting for the first case of a Muslim in Indiana using the current iteration of the RFRA law, the Religious Freedom and Restoration Act. Because in Indiana, the law that Mike Pence signed, the one that made national news and probably world news because it was pretty ugly, the good new version of it, there are no laws that you cannot use your sincerely held religious belief as a legal defense.
Okay, say that again.
There is no law that you cannot use your sincerely held religious beliefs as a legal defense.
So
traffic, parking, assisted suicide, murder, rape. It doesn't necessarily mean you get off, but what it means is that the prosecutor and the court has to hear your fucking horseshit argument that your religion is the reason, and you should be allowed to, under the First Amendment, express your sincerely held religious beliefs.
I like the non-intended pun that you might not get off.
It's not a unintended.
It is repulsive, and so
repugnant.
Got no words for it. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. So, well, and what would your opinion be about that, Guy?
Which one?
Well,
let's start with the notion that your sincerely held religious beliefs. Do you have any sincerely held religious beliefs that you think you could apply under Indiana law in the case that I described? Like,
probably not.
Okay, I'm just. I was hoping you were going to say that. Hoping you were going to say that.
I got not to pay this speeding ticket, Judge. He said I was going to pay fines.
First of all, can you think of a circumstance where you have a sincerely held religious belief that would lead you to do something you know is against the law? Would your religious beliefs ever justify breaking the law?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think what you have are beliefs that are held so sincerely that you would be willing to break the law in order to observe.
I don't think they'd be able to break the law under my belief system, so to speak. Possibly, I don't know. Well, I mean, by society standards, like the United States.
I'm happy to hear it. I'm just
so, but yeah.
I'm just curious. So, where do you stand on biblical law?
Like, what do you mean by that?
Do you value the Ten Commandments, for instance?
Yeah.
But you believe that there should be a punishment for not observing the Ten Commandments?
Technically, the punishment's hell. Technically, right?
And you
sure
you think that's a just punishment to go to hell if you break one of the Ten Commandments?
I'm not the judge, so I wouldn't be able to make that.
Sorry?
I'm not the judge. I wouldn't be the judge of that.
No, you're not. You're not. Yeah, but that wasn't my question. That wasn't my question. My question was, do you think it is just? It's not you judging the people. I'm asking you if the punishment is just for the crimes that are listed in the Ten Commandments.
I can't say if it's just or not.
You can't say it. So you think
No, I wouldn't
okay,
say it's
okay.
just or not. I've never.
I'll simplify it for you. So you think that if you lie just once, you deserve eternal torture. That is just. You cannot say if that's just or not.
Well, not necessarily. No. Oh, you would through the salvation of Christ, you would be fine breaking the Ten Commandments, so to speak.
Well, you also admitted again. I'm just going back to the last conversation of yours that I heard from that debate with whomever it was that you said it was with, where you said you asked him. I can't remember if it was you that asked him or he that asked you if killing children could ever be justified. You mentioned.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was
Uh,
the
yeah.
that was the
do you
other
remember?
guy.
Do you remember? Do you remember your answer to that?
Possibly. I said, yeah, sure.
And one and two of your examples were one when you didn't think it was immoral to end the suffering of a baby. That was one of them.
Yeah,
Right? And then you were confronted with the notion of dashing babies on rocks, and you said that you thought that was also justified.
yeah, I was mocking him right there because
Okay.
it was a silly thing. Yeah,
Was
I
it
was
the-
trying to be funny.
that-
Well,
that- that-
actually, yeah. Sorry
that
about that.
was-
I came off
yeah.
that way.
Yeah, no, that was
No.
So
pretty
but
express that you. But I take your point. It's as you were fucking with him, which is fine because
maybe
And the guy, I didn't know. Like he kept coming in and out of
he was
things, so I didn't
he
know
was
if he
more,
was
he was
trolling me.
more fucked up than you were, and I just thought that what you had said was remarkably fucked up. But
Yeah, like I said, I was going extreme with him with that one because
Okay.
he, like, I didn't understand why he's just like that was his only claim to like. He told me before, he's like, I usually just come on and tell him that baby Jesus says to dash or dash the babies against the stones, and I was like, okay. So when I asked him, is that all you had to say? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, wow, this is really all he had to say. So I was like, I just went with it on that episode.
can I go back just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because you said you need to keep the Ten Commandments, and then you said you don't need to keep the Ten Commandments.
Let me should. How about that? Is that a better word? You should keep the Ten Commandments.
No, you just said that you don't need to. You didn't
So in
realize
other
you
words,
didn't
just
realize that that was actually what you said, but that was what you
Say
said.
this.
You said
It's like this. I
no.
feel like
Listen. Hold on.
read it,
Listen,
whatever.
listen,
this is how we know he's high, Peter.
listen.
Hmm?
You said that because of Jesus, uh, you can no longer sin. So you do not need to observe the Ten Commandments. You can do whatever you want because of Jesus. That is exactly what you just said. So is that correct?
It goes on from that. Like from taking on what I said, I can see how you can come to that conclusion. But there's more to it than just that. Um, I think that there was because again, there's something that the Lord talks about. Um, like being saved, but then what is it becoming retrobated in that sense? Um, and that you can accept the Lord. I think people can choose to accept the Lord and then just like get out of faith, like when they grow up through the religion or whatever, and they're believing in the Lord, and then they just grow out of it or whatever, and then they do. Like you have those weird Christians that like when they say like they didn't know what they do. Why would they follow the law if there wasn't a God or whatever? Like they do like go murder or whatever. That's the thing that's implied usually.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly,
Yeah. And they said if there was no God, like that type of mindset or whatever, I think is a little bit retrobatish in the sense, if you can understand that. Like I think for me, it's more living within the spirit, and then like if you're in the spirit, because I use like a verse for this. It's in I forgot what verse it is. It's Ephesians or something like that.
So
And
let
it's
me
like
let me ask
living.
you let me ask a question. I'm a lifelong atheist. I've never been religious. How do you
Mhm.
live in the spirit? How does that work?
Anyone could. It's the passage. It's I'm trying to pull it up right now for you. Give me a second.
Well, you are living in
Excuse
the
me.
spirit. You are living in the spirit at the moment. So I don't think you need to look that up. You can just describe what you're doing.
I
In
never said in the spirit. No,
You just said that.
I said you to live in the spirit. To be leaving like when you're. I believe in faith that like it's hard to explain. Let me see if I can find
I,
it. I'm sorry.
so
Is there?
I still
Is there? Go ahead, Peter.
yeah I still don't understand. And I got a visitor again. Say hi there to the camera. Now go away.
Hi, baby girl.
Something you can't do is push a bull terrier back. Just doesn't work.
That's where the bull comes from.
Yes. So I,
Oh,
so you need
sorry.
to look up a verse to do something that you think you need to be doing but you haven't done yet.
I don't always remember the words.
Guy. There's another thing that God, you're not even the age of my own son. So, but I do feel like there are some things that I really want to fucking say to you. And among them is that I would really rather that you spend less time doing research and more time dealing with legitimate doubt. It would be far more useful for you to consider why you believe things and even force yourself to justify belief to yourself. And
It was Galatians. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Galatians is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was. But the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. So, like from what I gather from that, from what it's saying is that if you're always fruitful in the spirit, and it goes along with some of Jesus's teachings, that if you're in the spirit, there's no, it'd be completely impossible to attempt to break. I think the biblical law, which would be the Ten Commandments, because it wouldn't be able to in that type of spirit, so to speak.
Can I get back to my question? I know you're high and I know this is difficult, but
He's not as
so
high as I am.
I
Be hard
asked you, no,
for, like I
listen,
said,
listen. I asked you, how do you live in the spirit? Then you said, I'm going to look it up. Then you read a verse that says nothing about living in the spirit or how to do that. And then you said, you really need to live in the spirit. So I'm back to my original question.
that,
How do you,
I just read it.
how do you live in
I
the
get that.
spirit? What does that even mean? Because I have no clue what that even
I
means.
just anything I just said. Could you repeat it back to me?
You said, I need to live in the spirit. And
I
I
meant the
asked
verse. Do you
you,
remember
and I,
what
hold on, I
I,
asked,
what I think
hold on.
living in the
You
spirit means?
want me to repeat it back to you, and
That's
then you're
exactly what I
talking,
said.
and then you're talking over me. This doesn't work. You want me to repeat it back to you, then you have to actually listen to what I'm saying, because otherwise I'll be repeating it again, and that's just a waste of time.
Nobody
So
wants to, you hear how bad his accent is. Nobody wants to hear him repeat shit.
no, thanks for that, Artie.
Okay.
I'm really hurt now. I'm really
That's what you get for shitting on me.
even look even my dog is looking at you. See, my dog can't get it how you just insulted me. Let's get back. You said you need to live in the spirit, and I asked you, how does one live in the spirit? What does that entail? What do you need to do to live in the spirit? So that was my question.
Hmm. And then so you're not the verse that I was implying. What I should have said it when I said living in the spirits. I should have said living in the fruit of the spirit. And that's my apology.
What does that mean?
What is
What does
The fruit
living
of the
in the fruit
spirit.
of the spirit mean? I mean, I
So the
could
fruit of the
go.
spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, and temperance. Those would be the fruit of the spirit.
How do you
And if
know?
you're
How
living
do you
within
know? How do you
the
know? Hold on. How do you know that that is the fruit of the spirit? And we haven't even gotten to the fact
that's what
what a spirit is. But how do you know a spirit has fruit? And how do you know that this is the particular fruit that a spirit has?
I think it's more or less referring to possibly the Holy Spirit, but it could not be. You're correct. It couldn't be. I don't know. This is something we should look into together. But if you want,
Uh, I'd pass on that, I think. Because I think, for one, there's no such thing as spirits. So they won't have any fruit. And even if there were spirits and they had fruit, you can't live in that fruit because you're here on earth. And if there were fruit of the spirits, then we could see the fruit of the spirits and go live in it, which would be kind of
think we should
messy, I
see the
think,
fruit of
depending on whatever the fruit is. If it's kind of like a watermelon with seeds inside, it's kind of wet and sticky. So I I
Do you not
don't
like?
even want to start to understand it because it is so vague. I wouldn't have a clue where to start.
I don't think it's vague. I mean,
You
you're
don't think it's
mistaken? It's fake. Fuck.
you don't think it's vague. So if you don't think it's vague, then describe the fruit of the spirit to me. What does it look like?
I just did. And
What color does it have?
see, again, you're thinking of a literal fruit, and that's not my fault.
Okay. But if you can live in something,
My
it
friend,
has to have a form. It has to have a shape, right? Because otherwise you can't live in it. Or is it some kind of
I get
miraculous coat that you put on and wear night and day, like the Mormons do their underwear?
it
I'm,
could
s- I'm
be.
still trying. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this because I. It's not me trying to insult you. It is me trying to figure out what the hell it says in that book because it sounds like word salad to me.
Well, have you ever gone through the book or no?
Yes, twice, and still do every
And you
day.
never. So you're going through it every day, but what are you looking for when you're going through the book? That's my curiosity. Why do you go through the book to look
I
for
read I
what are
read
you looking
I read the
for?
Bible twice first to see what it claims. With my mediocre education, I can quickly figure out that Genesis can be discarded for once because we've already disproven that that never happened. We can discard the flood because that never happened. We can discard the fact that you can breed striped cows if you put up a striped stick because that never happened. Um,
That's how shit works, Peter.
yeah,
All that shit is true.
I can tell you I can do better magic than what is described in that book. I really
I
can.
can tell you that I'm a better person than the God in that book.
Would you say you're a literalist then, when it comes to your interpretation of
Oh,
the
wait a
Bible?
minute. What's not literal about having
So
livestock?
I don't think all of it's
Or-
literal, to be honest.
Okay,
Okay,
what's
so how do you
what's the
distinguish?
message being conveyed by livestock being born with stripes because of the foliage that's nearby?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so
Can we
how do
not
you make
pretend
the
that
distinction?
all
How do you
that
make
is literal?
Guy? How do you make the how do you distinguish between what is literal and what isn't? Because there's no way of telling when you read the Bible.
How
If you talk to
how do
Ken
you
Hebb
do?
and I talk to Kent Hovind thinks that Genesis needs to be taken literally. So
That's Kento.
yeah, but that's why I'm asking you. How did you distinguish which is literal and which isn't?
It's well, I'll just say this much. It's like I said, it's still going on with that video that I'm talking about, to where when it's gonna come out, it will explain it in that.
Are you writing that video rather than you're putting down a script for that?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it scripted so I can explain everything. It's just I haven't finished it yet because I want to do it seriously, and then when it's out there, it's done.
I
And
want
then
to encourage you to write this shit down because, damn, kid.
I have to start writing it down. It's just I haven't. I'm just trying to make sure. I want to look at a couple more books, do a couple more things, compare it from this religion to other religions, because it's going to be a big part series where it's going to be comparing like other religions, and then uh, going through them, and then trying to show Christian. I don't know. It's gonna be big. It's a big project that I'm undertaking,
Which
and so
which brings me back to my initial question. Uh, you're going to figure it out, and until you figured it out, you still believe. And my big question would be why?
that is a good question. I don't know. It's just it is.
I feel like a lot of them have been.
That's weird. I'm sorry.
No, that's,
No,
we apologize.
it's
There's a
it's
lot of
not
good questions after you tonight.
it's not weird. And if you talk to theists and keep asking them about why they believe, a lot of them
I
can't
never
give you.
asked. It doesn't matter what people believe in me. What other people do is what other people do. I don't care if people believes in God. It doesn't. I'm not concerned with them in that sense.
You seem
No,
to be curious.
It's like I don't know. It's like it's them. Their belief is their belief.
Yeah, but you've gone so far to read their book and adopt at least some margin of the things that they find to be most holy about the things that you're reading. So it's a little. I feel like it's a little disingenuous to say that you don't care what other.
It's their own beliefs, you know. I'm not gonna judge person. I'm just gonna try to get to know people. And
So is this interview with you just an exercise in your narcissism, where you get an opportunity to display your beliefs without any curiosity about what anybody else's are?
no, I get curious. So, like I just usually like when you said go and ask questions for the next show. I don't even know if I'll be able to do that because I try not to ask people questions unless they're chain, but I just suck at just questionnaires. So I'll
I
have to
I
find
have
things to ask you.
This goes back to my
I
point
have a
about
question. Hold
what
on,
people won't eat you.
Artemis, stop. Hold on. I promised myself that I would ask this question. I'm Dutch. I've never talked to anyone who spoke like you. You say I ask, and I say I ask. How is it that I can pronounce a word in English where you can't? That's always been
I think
mind-boggling to me where that came from.
the
Where
I think it's more of a local dialect, like it's just
No,
where we came.
no
It's
no
just the
no
way we say
no
it.
no, it's not a local dialect.
it absolutely is not.
I swear, because we were always an axe.
No, no. That's not that. What you're describing is not the thing that you mean to say, or the thing you mean to say is just objectively wrong. X is not regional.
It's let me ask you a question. It was always been that way.
No, it hasn't. Not
Where
regional.
where 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 I live, it's a tool to
I
chop
don't know. We
trees
did it as
down with.
I I get that you've been doing it for a long time, but
I think it goes back to
lots of people have been mispronunciating words for a long time, man.
Like I said, I think it goes back to the body spray. From like, it's just the way we said it.
Okay, I was just curious because I've never talked to anyone who actually pronounced it in that particular way. I've heard it on TV several times. I've heard it on YouTube, and I was just curious where it comes from, because it yeah, I don't know. It sounds weird. We got people in Holland who can't pronounce wasp and say wops, so maybe it's something like that. I don't know. I was just curious. And then everything went completely silent.
Yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah,
was
no,
what was no? That was the wrong reference. What was it? A reference, and suddenly nothing happened. That's a reference to some kind of movie or a book, or I forgot. I'm I've had trouble following this conversation so far, because we started out with why do you believe, and we're still stuck to why do you believe, because you don't even know, and yet you believe and will stay a believer, which to me is mind-boggling. I that doesn't strike you as weird?
I probably said it is weird. Yeah.
So, but will you still be believing after this show?
Would there be a reason not to?
One reason
Here's
would
what I would hope.
one reason would be that you just said it's weird. That wasn't me saying it.
So
That was
weird.
What I hope would happen for you, Guy, is after this is that you will begin to entertain your doubts, question why you believe the things that you profess to believe, challenge yourself. Seriously, again, this goes back to stop thinking that you can research your way into answers to these kinds of things. These are strictly personal things that you have to deal with. It's up to you to answer to yourself why it is you believe things, and whether or not it's necessary that you are able to justify what you think to be true. And if you get to the conclusion that it's not important that you be able to justify it, the next step is to admit that you just don't care about truth, because that's the admission that you're making. And I'm willing to bet that you're curious enough to spend a little time, get a little high, smoke your favorite, sit back, take a nice BM, have a good crap, leave the fan on so you don't hear anything outside the room, and just think about what it is that you believe and why. And maybe one good crap will change the way you think about 1,000 things. And again, it might be the reason you think about 1,000 things. I don't fucking know. But
so
that's
Artie.
what I would
Artie,
hope
it is funny.
flat out enough.
It is funny that you mentioned this, because in the debate that you sent me the link to with the guy who was completely out of his mind, he actually took a dump during the show.
It
Which,
was funny.
yeah, so if he had been my guest, he wouldn't have been on after that entirely. I mean, that's quite easy. Today's show is canceled. We're going to do something completely different. But
For those of you that are curious, by all means, hit Guy's channel, and I think it's your most recent video. Is that right?
This just
Yeah. Skip like the first 10 minutes, because there's some issues that complicate it. But
the first 10 minutes is him taking a dump. You can
Probably,
actually,
yeah, actually.
you can actually time how long he takes to take a dump, which left me with the idea: did he wipe? But that's
Well,
beside the point.
oh no, he had plenty of time to wipe.
Yes, you think so?
You know what? I heard somewhere in some biblical, it's against you can't wipe. It goes against the Ten Commandments. Oh, there's that.
Who told you that?
I'm trying to be funny. Sorry, I'm trying so hard to be.
Yeah, well, there are religions where you're not supposed to do things with your left hand versus things with your right, because that's, you use one or the other to do that. You know, there are religions that accommodate for that kind of thing, but
There's something like that in the Gnostic text as well. Like, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing.
yeah, it's a Muslim thing too. That you would never wave with your left hand, because that's the hand you wipe your ass with. It's literally the hand you cup the shit out of your butt with, would be the more accurate way of putting it. But you know, there's things like
Sorry,
1898
my brain froze. That you can't wipe, and that there might be people walking around who don't wipe.
Oh, dude,
Sorry.
yeah, I know. There's a couple of dudes.
I have
Like
I have this thing where if people tell me something, immediately visualize how that is going to look, and it's just not pretty. It's just not pretty.
I would think you would walk a little bit like a duck.
Yeah.
The diaper rash alone.
And then you get Kent Hovind coming along telling you that you are a duck, because if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's obviously a duck. Maybe it's because today I saw him a video of Bill Ludlow where he explained how Disney somehow teaches children that Tyrannosaurus turned into Donald Duck. And he made that.
I'm gonna have to get going.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense.
Yes. Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I heard you gotta go.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
I'm sorry.
So,
I don't mean to be abrupt, but I got.
No, okay, hold on. For some reason, oh, that's close. For some reason, my keyboard seems to be sometimes working, sometimes not working. So sometimes the screens don't switch. But okay, let me at least take the opportunity to thank you for coming on. We're a little past our usual hour and a half, but I do still have an open invitation for you to come back and ask us,
definitely.
and maybe ask us questions. Maybe that'll help you
Yeah, like-
in your search. And I really do hope that you're going to watch this video back and listen to your own answers, and then
Oh, definitely. I usually do. Yeah, like I said, I suck. It's been a while.
it's
since I've
not.
done one
No,
of these,
no.
like I
Hold on,
said,
hold on. It's not about.
sucking. It's not about sucking.
No.
Well, I'm not. I don't take it too much. I just meant like my performance wise, like if
Yeah,
I'm
but it's not
critiquing
about.
myself,
Hold on.
I
Hold on.
try to get better at things like this because I'm still new to doing all this stuff. So
Yeah, but see,
that's what I'm saying. It's
see,
nothing.
it
What
isn't.
matters is honesty, not your performance.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. The answers you gave were honest, and I'll take honesty over a performance any day, because a performance gets us nowhere. If you're going to put up a performance, then we might as well just skip the entire show, because that's useless. What we're trying to do is make you think about your position and whether or not it holds water. And maybe this video, if you listen to it later, if you listen back to it, maybe that'll help in trying to figure out whether what you believe is actually true, and if it's useful to keep believing that.
Expecting different questions.
Sorry?
said maybe I was expecting different questions.
Save your performances for your own videos, and I would hope that you could, if you watch any of my videos, you can see
like being entertainment wise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I didn't mean to speak over. I apologize.
You've been entertaining as fuck. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about that. But as I said, the goal of this show is not to be entertaining. The goal of this show is to make people think. So I hope that at least worked. So and on that note, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. And I can't switch the screen. There we go. I want to thank you for coming on tonight, and I really appreciate that you were honest. So don't worry about that.
Yeah,
And
sincerely,
and as I said,
way more respect for somebody who's willing to be honest than somebody who's even remotely concerned with whether or not they came across as something other than honest. And that should be your goal too. I recognize you're a young man, but you should be known for being honest rather than anything else.
I got a birthday coming up next month. Would be
You're still a young man, dude.
Young. I feel like a dinosaur, man.
Yeah, fuck you. On behalf of dinosaurs.
But yeah, and thank you for having me on, guys.
Okay.
It was really fun.
No problem.
It's just like I said, the questions got me, and I apologize. I'm definitely gonna rewatch this, and I'm gonna take notes and all that. Make sure that I'm.
The fact
I
that
get
you didn't.
better answers.
The fact that you didn't expect the questions just proves that they were good questions, and maybe they were questions that you should ask yourself. That's all I'm saying. So, well, we're gonna close this off.
Watch it and come up with answers that you feel better about, rather than questions that you think we feel, or answers that we feel better about.
Exactly. So, Mr. Artemis, thanks for
Yes, sir.
being here and peeing in the middle of the show. So, and I want to thank everyone in the side chat for dropping by, and it's to me at least it was a blast. So we got another show we got another show coming up this week. I'm trying to figure out a date and time. Also going to be an interesting show. So hit the subscribe button, click the bell, push like, all those kind of things, and don't forget to think. So see you all next time. Bye.